There is a clear knowing of what's being talked about here, and an understanding that what seemingly happens to Karen is just as impersonal as the wind moving or not moving the leaves of a tree. Yeah, it's so sweet. Within the story, it seems that since this has been dawning, there are two perspectives happening at the same time. The perspective of Karen with all thoughts and emotions she thinks belong to her, and the one of the knowing that it's all just part of the illusion of existence. Could you talk about the double illusion? Because it seems clear that both perspectives are part of the illusion, but one seems more identified than the other. By the way, Karen loves the Lost program. She used to be a fan of the TV series Lost and finds it very funny that now she's a fan of the Lost program. Love it. Dead empty Lisa. It's a better image than all the words that could appear. Yeah. Sure. So this is an interesting point, Karen, because a lot of teachers, I don't really actually know because I haven't listened to other teachers for a long time. Sometimes I've been to a few Tony's talks and a few other people's talks. But there's not too much of listening to the way that other people speak. But from what I understand at the moment in non-duality, what's becoming very popular is this idea of there is a self and there isn't a self, or there is a character and there isn't a character. There is choice and there isn't choice. There is the illusion and there's not the illusion, and that doesn't resonate here. I always say it's neither. It's neither illusion or not illusion. It's just what it is. And what's happening with Karen at the moment is there's been awakening, and then there's meing coming back and disappearing. There's the story coming back and disappearing. And so it gives this weird perspective because there's just this absolute timelessness, and then there's a character which seems to be in control and seems to be having relationships with people. But that's just the dream still carrying on a little bit. Completely agree that it's neither. Still, it's the experience here. Yeah, for sure, and that's the experience there. And it can seem a little bit like a schizophrenic, because at one moment, it can be the most important thing that your partner's, not done the washing up or left the place in a complete mess, and it can seem like the most important thing that he's offended you, that he's hurt you, that he doesn't love you enough, or whatever the stories are running, and it can seem like the most intense anger and rage, and then suddenly, like this, it can all just disappear, and then there's just this again. So it can be a very odd place, because sometimes, seemingly, there's you in relationship with the world, and then sometimes that all disappears, and to the outside world, I would suggest it seems like Karen's become a bit schizophrenic or something, like these two different characters. Yeah, schizophrenic, but okay with it, because it's jumping between these seemingly two different worlds, but it's always timelessness, it's always what is, it's never not what is. It's just this character that jumps back in, and suddenly you are in relationship with another. It doesn't mean that stopping the words to get your partner to clear up don't happen, but it's not you in relationship with your partner anymore. There's not an imagination of you that he's an offending. There's not an imagination of him being a bad person that's untidy and you being offended. There's just clean up your fucking mess and then eating lunch. If you can understand that. That whole relationship, you in relationship with others, fall away. But there can still be the body-mind saying no. It doesn't mean that that means body-mind mechanism becomes this passive zombie that's like, yes, yes, I'm laying with my legs open at all times. It doesn't mean, why would it be more yes, the body-mind mechanism, than no? Why would it's not that then the character's just in yes, or the body-mind mechanism's just in yes. It's what falls away is the relationship, you in relationship with other. So everything's just spontaneously appearing out of nothingness, rather than appearing out of a past story, and peering out of reason, and peering out of knowing something. Thoughts of me and the other are there, but also the knowing that it's not real. Yeah, and it's not necessarily the thoughts, it's this energy, more so, this crumbling of this energy. But it's easier to talk about thoughts, but it's this whole package of energy, of thoughts, energy, but thinking can still happen. But it's this energy of personalization. I am in here and he is out there. It's just thoughts and words arise spontaneously and then disappear. And they're not even arising out of nothing. That's even a separation, but far out, how else would I speak about this? It's just this energy of like, once there's blah, 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 and then it's gone. And it's not you in relationship with another. And people interpret that as, oh, what she's saying is I've got to be really passive, which is hilarious, because why pick really passive? The mind associates passiveness most of the time, or being okay with everything, as happiness. And I'm not talking about someone being okay with everything. It's the removal of that one. And that one can still be a bad-mooded shit. Not that one, that the body-mind mechanism can still be a bad-mooded shit, but it's no longer coming from someone. It's just bad mood, gone. But when there's this flip-flopping energy, this seeming, because it's never really flip-flopping, when there's this seeming flip-flopping energy, it can be a confusing time, seemingly. Because Karen, you might notice that Karen can't stick to what she says at all. Because she'll say, I feel like this, and this is the way it is. And then that dissolves, and then something else appears and says the opposite. There's no fixed self. The me in the past is always trying to appear as a fixed self, and then as that begins to dissolve, there's just response coming in each moment. If you can get what I see. Being passive seems actively suppressing, so the opposite of being passive in a way. Yeah, it is. It is hate in a way, passiveness, because it's an idea of what you should be like, rather than what the other should be like, what you should be like, and then trying to live up to that. And it's saying that something is wrong. How can anything be wrong? You could do, I watched Dream Bus, the film, last night, and there was a really sweet example of wrong and right. There was this little cartoon on this film of a monkey rescuing a fish from the water, and the monkey says to the fish, I got you out of the water because otherwise you would drown, and then the fish dies. So the idea of rightness or wrongness is just impossibility. If nothing's separate, if everything's one movement, how can there be a right and wrong? There's just what is. Yeah, some of that's still around, but losing its grip. Yeah. Seemingly. Hi, Danny. Afternoon. I think you guys in America are in morning. Seemingly. You heard that. Yeah. Because it does seem that, it can seem, and that there's a process of falling away, but ultimately, again, there's no process, because where is that process? Saying the same thing. Thanks, dear. Thanks, Karen. Cedric. There's only one Cedric on here now. The idea that there is a resonating when listening to the words of Lisa is an illusion. Yes, you're right, Cedric. It is an illusion. Oh dear. Why would that be real? It's not real. I don't believe that it's the case. Karen says, Cedric, you are funny, seemingly. Everybody hears himself. The resonating is bullshit, illusion. There is nothing that resonates. Only ideas, words, thoughts. Nothing goes from one person to another. That's all bollocks. This isn't Lisa speaking. This is Cedric, by the way. Shall I give you a voice, Cedric, a French accent? That is for the words that wanted to be said here. I don't think I'm very good at the French. But in a nutshell... Oh, sorry, you're not French, are you? You're from Belgium. But you speak French, so we'll do that accent. But in a nutshell, there is nothing that resonates. Resonating is a concept, a word. Yep. I can't disagree there, Cedric. It is a load of bollocks. Everything Lisa has ever said, ever, which is nothing because nothing's ever been said, but seemingly said, is an absolute load of bullshit. A load of bullshit. Everything. 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 There is not 1 ounce of truth in anything that Lisa's ever said.